Hi, you're listening to Salon Soul Brothers and Sisters Stylist of Influence interview with today's guest, Aisling Kenny of House of Colour. Hi, good evening, Salon Soul Brothers and Sisters, or good day, or good afternoon, or wherever you are in the world. Well, I hope you're having a good one. But welcome to another Stylist of Influence interview. And tonight I've got the lovely Aisling Kenny from House of Colour. You know, if you're making waves in House of Colour, you want to be good. You know what I mean? And this girl is making waves. She's somebody that's only 8 years in hairdressing, but what she's achieved in 8 years, some people would take 28 years to achieve. So some people I've interviewed here have been stylists of influence for 20 odd years and probably never got the opportunity till I asked them to interview, and they've interviewed and we've got their story out there. But I just felt, you know what, Aisling's story, it's short, it's sweet, there's a lot of future to roll ahead of it. We need to get her in here because we need somebody to inspire the younger generation that are coming through, that maybe feel when they look at somebody a little bit older thinking, oh, well, that's okay because it was easier for them. And then they come along and they see Aisling. So Aisling, welcome to Stylist of Influence.
Thank you so much for having me.
8 years in hairdressing. We first met at Star Team.
Yeah.
That was, I think it was it 2018, 2017, 2018?
Yeah.
And at the time you weren't in House of Colour. You were with another salon group. And you were a bright spark, you know what I mean? Because I've always loved Star Team and the whole idea behind it of getting young talent and coaching them. And in fairness to David, it was a great idea. And I'm so happy that the IHF have continued with it. And I hope, as I've one of our girls, believe it or not, prepping today for a semi-final place. And as I said to her, when I get this interview done, make sure you listen to this. This is somebody who's done that journey, you know what I mean, and got there, because it is a privilege to get through, because like there's been at least 100 entries and to get down to the final. So you've also represented really well while you were still an apprentice. You've won IHF awards in ladies fashion, color, full color fashion, and senior category as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And was the route to competition something that you would have always wanted, or was it something that maybe evolved from being involved in Star Team? Also, you've worked on London Fashion Week, so I want to talk about that, and behind the scenes at the television awards in the UK, not the Irish ones. So there you go. So you obviously must be doing something right to get these opportunities. So let's get into it a little bit, and let's start to what influenced Aisling to become a hairdresser in the first place.
So, God, like literally from I was about 2.5. My mom has a picture of me, and I have my cousin sitting in literally a toy chair, and I have a toy hairdryer in my hand. And just from then, she just said, anybody who was around, I was pulling at their hair, playing with their hair. It just was always in me. There's no hairdressers in my family, so there's no one kind of around me that would have been, you know, someone that, like I said, oh well, I want to follow in her path. It was just something that was in me from the beginning. And right away through school, like I did transition year, and we'd do work experience, and I think we'd pick 3 different places for work experience, and each time I just picked 3 different salons because I just knew I wanted to get into hairdressing. And then like that, I went into night school then while I still was in school. Just did a 10-week course in basic introductory hairdressing just to confirm that that was what I wanted to do. And just since then, once I finished school, I just got straight into the salon and just have loved it ever since.
And so, were you somebody who was good at school?
No.
Yeah, academic? No, well, look, when I say good, I'm not saying you were going to be the next top accountant, but you were comfortable at school. So it wasn't that you left because I hate school and getting out of here. You did finish school.
Yeah, I finished school. So what I found with school was I loved it. Like I didn't have a problem going in. I definitely wasn't the brightest spark in the classroom. I just knew that from, you know, I gave it my best shot. But like, you know, it was kind of when you kind of come into like 5th year, 6th year, everyone's talking about filling in the CAO, and I just knew I didn't want to go to college. I wasn't academic. I just knew that that's not what I wanted to get into. And when I was kind of talking to friends, and they were kind of, what do you mean you're not going to college? And I did kind of find, even with teachers, I kind of found it was very much, well, like, you're in sixth year, why aren't you going on to that next step? And I was like, but I know what I want to do. I know it's not college. College isn't the route for me. I know what I want to do. And I think, like, I'll talk about it in a while, but I think with Head Start, the book that I wrote over lockdown, I think that was one of my biggest driving forces, was because I kind of felt in school there wasn't really a support unless you wanted to go on to follow their curriculum. If you wanted to go on to the next step, say, like, socially acceptable, they didn't kind of want to know. No one turned around and said, well, let me help you find a way to get into a salon, or let me help you. There was just none of that there. So yeah, I just think, yeah, like, I liked school, but it just, I knew a salon was for me, definitely.
Yeah, and the reason I did ask you about being an academic is because you've wrote a book.
It was a big thing to everybody.
But it's not, it's just that, I think our industry, and as I spoke to somebody about it this morning, is that we want young people to come in. We have to be professional in how we approach them. And we also have to make sure that they meet the criteria that you need to be a hairdresser. And that means, well, when it comes to color, the science involved in color, when it comes to understanding, I remember Stephen Kelly talking about he didn't understand angles, in maths, but you will have to. And that's why I feel the age, in Ireland, a school leaver is 18 now. So they usually have completed their leaving cert. You know what I mean? And so you writing that book, and we want to talk about it a little bit further down. But what I want to go, when you took up hairdressing, you were in, for as much as the passion that you had for it, what were the challenges you had? What was the area of the craft that you went, oh, can't really get this? Or did you just naturally do everything great?
No, I definitely didn't actually take to things. I had to work hard. I'm a visual learner, so I definitely find I'm better off watching things over and over again, practically learning. And the theory side of things, I really had to work at. Like, I do find, like, if I need to learn how to do a tint, I had to do 10 tints before I could know my sectioning. Like, I know I definitely am the type of person that has to practice all the time. And I think if you're not willing to put the practice in and put that time in, it's just it'll crumble, it'll catch up on you. You can't, what I find with your training is you can't just blag your way through. Some jobs and something you can, but it will catch up on you. So, I started off, like you said, in a different salon. I started off in a local salon near where I live, and it was a great start into hairdressing, and I've made friends for life from that salon. But I really wanted to, I think, like, I had started with Star Team, and I kind of got the taste of competitions. I kind of got the taste of photo shoots and that kind of side of hairdressing, and I knew that that's what I wanted to focus in. And I think the biggest challenge for me was actually making the decision to leave behind friends and colleagues in my first salon and actually move to House Colour. Because I ended up having to actually, at that stage, I was 4 years training, and I went to House Colour knowing I had to continue my training because I wasn't finished. So I think that was the hardest thing, was that I had to go back and do another year training. And now looking back, it was the best thing that I ever did, because I love working with everyone in House of Colour, but the training that I got from them was just second to none. The House Colour Academy, like, it was my cutting side that I was very weak on, so that was definitely like a struggle for me. But with the teachers and everything, I think Kieran and stuff was saying before on your podcast, like, you just have to go, you have to ask questions, you have to put yourself out there, you kind of have to just step outside your comfort zone to, if you've a goal, you just have to go for it. So yeah.
So when you were learning, like, did you look and say, I'm really, people go into their comfort zone, I'm really good at doing this, so I'll just focus on this. But you realize that I actually like it all. You know what I mean? So I want to do it all. To me, the key to success is repetition. So would you share my view in that you never stop learning?
Never. And that's one of the things I love about the industry. Never. And I think once you stop yourself from doing courses or upskilling, that's when I think your career it'll kind of nearly die. You need to keep moving. It's such a fast-paced industry. You have to go out of your comfort zone sometimes. And yeah, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, it's like I just finished reading Christy Dignam's book, you know, in Aslan. And
Yeah.
he, as he said, and I was kind of I always try and put it in perspective into my industry. And he basically said, like, when you get success, you write an album, you have a hit song. Great. And then the record company going, you have to write another album.
Yeah.
And then you kind of go, and the challenge. And I think that's your own in their industry. It's always true. You're only as good as the last guest that left the salon, because the next guest in could be a whole different journey. And the more, and I know from what you're doing, like, even if you just look at the list that's in front of me, national television, that's an experience. You know, Wella Trendvision, that's a whole other experience. You know what I mean? So competition work, was it something that you felt, you know, when, let's say Star Team, did the salon encourage you into Star Team, or did you discover Star Team and say, I mentioned that?
So we went to, it was actually the first time I was at the Irish Hair Federation, the championships, and advertising Star Team, and they were like, everybody go for it. And I was kind of like, I was looking at everybody up on stage. We had entered photographic. It was our first time entering anything. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, I want that. I want to go for that. And even like throughout school, I was never really a competitive person. Never really, like, I danced when I was younger, but I never really was big into competitions. But there was just something that day that kind of gave that like kick, and I was just like, okay, now I want to go for it. And I did. I went back to Salon and said, I want to go for this, and I worked hard at getting the entry in. And when each stage kept coming back, I hadn't a clue what a fashion model was. I hadn't a clue. It was alien to me. So then, yeah, I went for it the first year. I think it was 2016, and I got as far as the final. And I just remember the whole buzz the whole night, and it was amazing, and everybody looked great, and it was great to get that far. And then when they called out the 4 girls and I didn't make it the first year, I'd say I was in the bathroom and I was bawling. I'd say anybody who came in was saying, what is wrong with this thing? I was devastated. And I think it was the best thing that ever happened to me, was not getting it that first year. I wasn't ready. I hadn't a clue what a fashion model was, so I wasn't going to get very far in the rest of the year. You know,
the exact same happened to my eldest daughter. She entered the Wella Trendvision and came runner up in it. And the next competition, she actually bombed, and she couldn't understand why. And I kind of went, because you didn't take any help, you didn't take any advice. You just thought, well, I've run up in Trendvision. And it was the best learning curve for her, because she realized, you know, I don't know as much as I think I do. And I'm sure when you're rubbing shoulders now, you know, behind scenes in London Fashion Week, I'm sure you're looking around you, and maybe you have imposter syndrome, or maybe you don't, but do you ever feel, I shouldn't be here? You know what I mean? What, these are all, but then when you actually look at what you've achieved yourself, you go, no, I should be here. And I think that's something that we really need to push out in people, is to have that inner drive that you obviously have yourself. So when did the IHF awards come? Was that after Star Team, or?
Yeah, it was after Star Team. So because I technically, I had started in House Colour in, I think it was the February, and because I was technically out of my 4-year training, but yeah, I was still a trainee in the salon. The rules in House Colour is everybody has to compete when you're training, and I think that's such a great drive, because it builds yourself up for the salon floor, and it makes such a difference when I see somebody who hasn't competed before to somebody, say, who competes all the time now. The difference in themselves, that self-belief, everything just totally changes. So I had to enter, and David had said to me, listen, technically you actually can't go for an apprentice category because you're out of your time. So we're going to have to go for a stylist category. And I was like, what? So I had a heart attack, and he was like, listen, we'll be fine. We'll be grand. So we went for the full fashion ladies cut, and I had to cut a bob. So I just remember, like, at the time I'd only started in the salon, so it's such a big salon group. I didn't know everybody, but yet the line of them just standing at the side of the competition floor and they're all cheering on. It's something that always stay with me.
Yeah.
Was that like these people don't even really know me, but yet I just feel a part of their team. They've just taken me in. So that just got the adrenaline rushing, and I was like, right, I can do this. It's fine. There's someone standing beside me that just told me she's hairdressing 30 years. That's fine. I'm only a wet day, but it's grand. So yeah, I just got stuck in. I really put my heart and soul into the whole look. She's actually behind you on the
so if anybody is watching this on YouTube, you'll see a collection, and it's only a small collection of some of the amazing work that Aisling has done. And when you're looking, you just go, for somebody 8 years to even have those images there is amazing. And I think that's part of the journey that David instills in you. You know what I mean? That everybody is capable of being at the top. You know what I mean? Everybody. There's no. Well, it wouldn't be for you. It's for everybody. As long as you put the work in. Yeah.
Definitely. And I think that, like, you know, even when you go into Star Team, the biggest thing is that they say is it doesn't matter if you're training 2 months, whether training a year, it doesn't matter what stage you're at. As you said, it's kind of like, it's your personality, it's your drive, it's your passion for the industry that's going to get you where you want to be, if you want to be there. So yeah, on the day then, when the whole day was over and we were sitting waiting on the results, and called out third place. I had kind of hoped if I place anywhere, I was like, right, if it's anywhere that I'm going to place, it's going to be third. I'm not going to be first or second. But third got called, and I remember sitting beside Zara, who works with me, and I turned to her and I go, oh, shut up, we did it. Second came out, and then they called first, and it was me. I nearly died. I couldn't believe it, and it was the best moment ever. It just was amazing. And like that, the whole team the screams and the shouts, and just again from people who I didn't even know, but because I was part of their House of Colour family, I was theirs. And
David was always like, rent the crowd, you know what I mean? In fairness,
that go anywhere.
I'll give him the kudos there that he did change the landscape of hairdressing competitions as regards people supporting the team. Because since then, I've seen other salons come along, and I'm just looking at it and kind of going, like, that's House of Colour started that. You know what I mean? Before then, we didn't. You know, Peter Mark would bring a crowd. You know what I mean? But the rest is always probably the owner, one or two. But then it became, and it's made competitions now much better when it comes, you know? But the only thing is now, do you feel that type of competition has a future? Is in out on the floor, or are people now, because there's a lot of us older people feel that Instagram and Facebook and has created an insecurity for people, that they feel, oh, you know what, I just throw a picture in, and they don't really want to go out on the floor. Whereas I always felt, like you just said, it's the making of you. You know what I mean? To be side by side with somebody with 20 years more experience, and you produce a work that's equally as good as theirs. You're going back, next guest in the chair now, you're going, I'm up for this. You know what I mean? So would you agree with me on that then?
Yeah, like I do like how they have kind of introduced Instagram. Like, it's even like Trendvision now. The whole first round is all through Instagram. And I do think it does kind of give somebody the confidence who, like, say, wouldn't go for a competition in the first place. They would they'd go for it because they don't actually physically have to be there. And I think it does encourage people to go for, like, I think it encourages more people to go for it. But in a way, then it comes to the final and they do have to go on the floor. I think it is a little bit daunting then. And I think that's where the first stage, I think you do need to be there. I think you need to be physically there. So I don't know. It is kind of like, I think it'll work in some things, but I don't think you'll beat that feeling of actually being on the floor and there in the moments.
Yeah, I think, as you say, the early stages of a competition can, and like, let's face it, if you're over the west of Ireland and trekking all the way to Dublin for the chance you might get a look in, But I think if you can submit the picture or the image, gets you the next stage, and then there's a little bit of another stage. It's like, I suppose, Star Team now when you look at it, it's a CV, it's an interview on Zoom. Then it's so there's, you're going rather than having to take that time out, travel all the way up to Dublin, sit in an interview, to go back and find you didn't get anywhere, you know. And I always feel like for us that are based in Dublin, it's an easier thing, but for people outside, so I think it will open up more competition entries from around the country. You know, so House of Colour might not win everything then.
Well, now.
So,
you never know.
No, and look at the shoulders that you've rubbed shoulders with, you know what I mean? Like, who are your mentors and who inspires you? Because I always remember Jenny Kenneth saying, well, you know, somebody can't be a mentor to me if I don't know them, but it could be an inspiration. And that's why I've always changed that question. Like, who inspires you, or who are your mentors?
It's so hard. Like, I think we're so lucky in the industry that we're in, because everybody who I've been lucky to work with or work alongside has influenced me or mentored me in some sort of way. I was lucky enough to get on the Wella Generation Now team. Just after lockdown, we actually had our boot camp through Zoom because I actually couldn't get over to the UK. And with coronavirus and everything, but I was mentored by Luke Benson on that team, and just wow, like that, he was just somebody that I always looked up to. And to think now I have his phone number in my phone, and he said to me, if you need anything, if you have any questions about anything ever, give me a text and I can help you. Or, you know, he got us Liam Payne to send us a voice or a video message wishing us all good luck. And I'm like, how do we know these people? Like, it's just unbelievable. He definitely has been a huge inspiration of mine. Another person who I got the chance to work with was Michael Gray over in the UK as well. He's an amazing celebrity stylist, and just listening to his stories and his passion for the industry, I think when you surround yourself with like-minded people, or you're in the environment with like-minded people, it changes you completely. You come away nearly floating. You're kind of like, it inspires you to get up and go. And right, if you're stuck in a rut, I kind of find if I go and talk to somebody who I know is going to pull me out, that who's positive, and I just think when you surround yourself by like-minded people, you're unstoppable. And then, like, outside of the industry, well, even in my day-to-day salon life, the girls that I work with in City West are just incredible. Each of us, there's only 4 of us style on the floor, and each of us are so different, but yet we're all the same. Like, we just support each other in every way. And even like my manager Laura, like, we just all are such a good team that they inspire me every day. And then, like, outside of work, family, friends, my boyfriend, like, I think if you find you're down on yourself, or you feel like you can't get anywhere, or take a look at the circle that's around you, because I think like everyone, like, I've had people in my life who've come in and I just know they're not good for me, and they just don't support you, or, you know, you need to get rid of those kind of people. You need to be surrounded by people who are going to support you and drive you and push you the same way you'd have to be there for them. So I think definitely, like, day-to-day life as well, you know, I have mentors that I know, and then I've mentors that I look up to. But yeah.
And within the House of Colour, or am I asking, I do not want to pick anybody in case you get beaten up.
Well, the art team, the House of Colour art team, incredible. Just Olive, Zara, Jodie, Emily, Natalia, like the list just goes on and on. Like, it's incredible. David, even, he's been such a huge support to me from the get-go, even taking me under his wing when, you know, when I was struggling with my training, and he just said, you can do it. Stop telling yourself you can't do it. There's no such thing as can't. You just have to keep pushing yourself. Like, I'm just so lucky to be in the salon that I'm in, that it just, like, I don't think I'd have the opportunities that I've had if I didn't have that driving force behind.
Yeah, and part of it as well, though, I think, is you create these opportunities yourself. Because we often get across people going, well, I'm not in the right salon, it's not me, it's not this, it's not that. And you had already started your journey up before you joined House of Colour. Do you know what I mean? And then that took you to another level where sometimes I think people are waiting for this magic wand to hit them on the head and say, from tomorrow, you're going to be amazing. So it leads lovely into, as a young, influential stylist, looking at your column, what do you feel makes a fantastic or amazing stylist today? And that, you know, what full column, or, you know, what goes into filling your column?
I think self-belief anyway is a big thing. If you don't believe in yourself, the person that's sitting in your chair is not going to believe in you. And I just think, you know, like that you have to upskill. Don't be afraid. Like, don't get the ego in. I'm qualified now. I don't need to go on courses. Or it's not a bad thing to go on a course. Like, I love when I'm getting the chance to upskill. I'm hopefully doing my master color program now in October, and I can't wait for that. Like, I can't wait to get stuck in and learn again and get back in that environment. I just think education is so important, and I think it makes a stylist great, you know, having that behind you. And it's just, you know, having that support behind you from like that your courses. And yeah, I don't know,
You're somebody that likes to do most of their own work, so you like to do your own color.
Yeah.
I
love start to finish. I love building. Like, the girls will slag me in the salon, like they'd hear me talking, and if I'm not talking, they're like, is she okay? I love building a relationship with my guests. Just, you know, start to finish like that. I love color. Like, if I'm starting my color, I love to see the finished result, to style it. And so yeah, if I can, you know, if my column will allow, I'll do the whole service. And then, like that, we've amazing colorists in the salon that give us a hand as well. But yeah, no, I do love to do.
Yeah, because I think I've been doing a bit of research on that, and you're looking at how different salons operate around, because obviously rent a chair and build rental in America, and that's creeping into the UK. And then there's still some passionate salons that want to be employers, and because they feel that not every stylist wants to be self-employed, and don't push people into doing something they're not comfortable with. So, you know, to me, I would feel, you know, and as you say, education is an ongoing journey. You have to keep it going. But I think in order for our industry to survive, you're going to have to be at the top of your game, because you're going to have to charge a premium for what you do. And the people will pay that premium, but they will pay it when the person looks the part, acts the part, and is the part. Then the money isn't an issue. Whereas for a long time, I think our industry, we undersold ourselves and didn't believe in it. And as I said to you, the education thing, where we go, oh, well, I honestly don't believe, because I didn't start hairdressing until I was 21. I had the education, could have gone on and done a lot of things, but there was a drive in it, you know what I mean, for me, that to me, it was, I loved the clothes, and I loved that I could wear clothes, I could dress up whatever way I want, and it was wall-to-wall females around the place. And that was true. And then I ended up meeting one within 6 months, and we ended up being married, and we're together ever since. So, but to me, I remember in my first year, after 6 months, realizing that, God, I better learn how to do this. You can't really just hang around this salon. And like that, you're just lucky the salon I was in, because I'd ended up Paul Gould from Zeba was a junior stylist, Mark McCauley Kasumu, junior stylist, but I was a year older than them, and they took me under the wing, and we became great friends, and they taught me. So you making that bold move, as I always say, look, I can take you on your journey, certain amount, but if your journey is to go beyond my salon, I want to be there applauding you, saying, well done. But if your journey is to be here, well, then you have to make sure it's at a level and you're happy here. And I can see it, because I seen you in your salon working last week, how happy you are. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then, you know, I find generally the House of Colour people, when I'm in and out there, they are happy. But then, you know, if David was to have everybody still working there, we may have to fit them in.
Yeah.
So some people will outgrow, move on. As David said, they go on and open their own salons and the whole lot. That is a great compliment. You know what I mean? Like, I love it now. And I look around, like, there's young stylists like you that are now in Australia that you trained. Do you know what I mean? And like you to me are a role model for a lot of young people, because when I look at you with the way you conduct yourself, how you present yourself, you're beyond your years, because you're somebody only 8 years hairdressing. You know what I mean? But that shows that time means nothing. It's what you put in. And repetition is the key to success. And you've obviously repeated over and over because you've admitted you're a visual learner, and visual learners work by repetition. You know what I mean? So where does the future hold for you? Because you wrote this book, and let's talk about this book, Head Start. So are you involved in teaching in House of Colour now?
Yeah, I am. So I teach our academy. So it's our private courses. So I teach them in Abbey Street. So I teach them on a Wednesday. It's amazing. I absolutely love teaching. I think I just feel really, really passionate about teaching because I feel I struggled so much when I was learning, and I just feel I want to be that person that helps somebody else get through, because I think it's so easy for someone to crumble and go, do you know what, this isn't for me, I'm not doing it because I can't get that head of highlights, or I can't do balayage, so I'm not doing it. And I want to be that person to pull them back and go, no, you can do it, you just need to practice. And I think that's where you'll see where you have people who really, really want to be a hairdresser, and then you'll have other people who tried it and it might not work, and that's fair enough as well. But I just absolutely love education. I've had the opportunity with Jen now to teach over in the UK. So I went on a tour with them during the year around the colleges. So I never went to college for hairdressing. So it was really nice to see that environment and how they learn. And then I got to show them little tips and tricks, how I'd help the girls learn. Like, I try and change things up. I love creative work. So, you know, one of the days, one of the girls' models cancelled. So we got crazy colours, and we did a full head of highlight with pinks and blues and purples, but she was still practicing our same technique, but she just didn't think that she was actually, she goes, oh, I'm after doing a full head of highlights. And I was like, yeah. And because she was disheartened that our model had cancelled on her. But I was like, see, now that we can change things up, we can make things a little bit more creative. And then like that, it made her want to go then and enter into the Wella, I think the Wella,
Next generation or something.
She wanted to enter into that then, because she was like, oh, it's actually not as hard as what I thought it was. I was like, you can incorporate, what you do on the salon floor every day and just change it up with your color technique, or so I just love being able to open their minds and show them different things and take them for, obviously they have to learn the classic stuff, and that's fair, but I do like then to kind of, if they're hitting a slump or a wall, I'll just go, right, let's do something different and take them away from it and show them the creative side and the fun side of hairdressing. Because I think a lot of people forget about that sometimes, because I do know the fundamentals are so important, but it's such a unique career that I want them to love the industry as much as I do. So when we were in lockdown, I was cracking up. I'm so used to being on the go all the time. So I started writing, which was going to be a blog post. And I got in touch with David, and we were brainstorming and we were chatting, and the two of us decided that we were going to publish a book. So what it is, it's a survival guide for people who want to get into the industry. It's not technical. I'm not a technical person, so I wanted it to be as easy to read. It's right here.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's an easy read. It's a book that you can pick up and put down. You can read it starts off with how to create your CV, how to present yourself in an interview, what to do on the first day. It's things that nobody tells you. Nobody tells you how to create a CV. Nobody says in an interview, make sure you hand your CV ask for the owner at the desk. Don't just email it in, or, sell yourself. Then the interview, go present yourself well, smile, don't eat chewing gum. It's basic things that we forget as, like, I'm 27, but like I like things you do forget that 17 or 18-year-olds might not think. They've never been in that environment before. They've been in school, but how many times do kids try and bend the rules in school? When you're trying to win somebody over, it's it's such a big thing that it's daunting. And I remember what it was like stepping into an interview for the first time. And I just wanted them to have something to open up and go, right, okay, I need this checklist. So you tick off, right, have you researched the salon you're going to? Do you know the salon owner's name who's interviewing you? Do you know, it's just little things that you might forget when you get bogged down or overwhelmed. So
have you done it as a digital magazine yet, or is it just a hard copy?
At the moment, it's a hard copy, and we are going to be branching out into education with it. So we want to start an affordable training hub for assistants for as little as about €10 a week. So they'll get like live interactive classes with myself, and then hopefully, if everything goes well with it, we'll be releasing 2 more books. So one for graduating, and then for being a stylist on the floor. So I just wanted something that, you know, somebody could pick up and go, you know, there's a link, there's a QR code you can scan, and it jumps you straight to my Instagram page. So my direct messages are open. You just message me, and if I can help you in any way, I'm there for you. I want to be there for the girls in House Colour and the fellas in House Colour, but I want to be there for everybody. If I can help in any way, whether it comes to even starting or anything that I'd have experience of, that's what I wanted that book to be there. Like even over in the UK now with doing the colleges, the book is over in the UK. So even the connections I'm meeting and with people, it's amazing. And
you have just how many copies now at this stage? Have you got a figure, or roughly?
A good few anyway. I'm not sure on a exact.
Over 1,000 anyway.
Yeah.
But even to be over 1,000, there's a lot of accomplished authors that if they get 1,000, you know, copies of their book moving would actually be delighted. So for a 27-year-old hairdresser who said they went into school to have this book to help other school leavers is amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really is fantastic, because a lot of people want to take out of our industry, and it's very self-centered, and I'm not saying all, but there's a lot, you know what I mean? And then there's people like you that come along and, you know, decide, I want to start giving back, and you're only 8 years in the industry. And I think it's absolutely amazing, because, you know, more of you, hopefully, and hopefully if the book inspires more of you, I'll be delighted with that, because the industry's gone through challenging times. And as we spoke off camera, it's not that there isn't the clients out there. The guests and the clients are out there. It's just there's a shortfall of hairdressers. So we need to find where they are. And if they're out there and not working in the industry, we need to bring them back into the industry. So that could be a book, a reintroduction. Have you been somebody who's been disillusioned by hairdressing, but would love to come in, but have lost their confidence? So there's your next book there for you.
There you go. But yeah, like that's what I just wanted, something that, you know, wasn't like you get these big books with all these words in it, and let's be honest, we don't read it cover to cover, and that's what I want. We wanted this to be something that was relatable to people. You know, it has pages where you set your goals, and somewhere I find like if I write something down, I am more than like I feel like I have to complete that now, because I'm after writing that down. I can't let myself down. I have to tick that off. So it's just the way that I find helps me. So hopefully it'll help. If it helps 2 people out there, I'll be delighted.
My coping mechanism way of doing that was, the more people I tell people I'm going to do something, the more it made me have to do it, because I've told everybody. So dream out loud is my always think. If you have a dream, you have an idea, tell everybody about it. But it'll push you to go where else people go, I said you were going to do it, I didn't even do it. You know what I mean? So that's what drives me on. It's like when I was learning the saxophone for the first time, and one of my friends said, when are you putting videos up? You're useless at it. And I went, yeah, I know, but the more I do it, the better I'll get. And then eventually people come back and say, you're actually getting good. You know what I mean? So we all like a little bit of praise, but it's repetition. It was the one thing I learned from learning a musical instrument was, and I'm kind of going, it's repetition. The more you play, the better you get. The more you practice, the better you get. But there's some, I think, hopefully your book will put structure into young people's lives to make sure and drill into them that there's no magic wand here.
No.
You know what I mean? Hard work. You know what I mean? There is no place for no success is gained without work, without hard work. And you have to turn up. And you've turned up for 8 years consistently because I've seen you. Hence, when I approached Dave and said to Dave, I'm thinking that, and he says, yeah, actually, I think it'd be well up for it, Greg. And I went, great. Now, because I hate rejection. I hate somebody going, no, I don't want to do it. And I'm going, or I'm not ready for it. But I had a feeling you were going to, you know. So on the last question I want to ask you is, where do you see yourself in the next, you've kind of elaborated a little bit with the teaching, but where do you see yourself in the next 12 years? Is competition still there? Is the edge to compete? Yeah,
because we've Trendvision now coming up.
See that.
So I got silver, so I'm going for gold now. So we're going again. So we've boot camps coming up now for that. So model hunting, and we'll have that over the next few weeks. And we're doing a tour with the House Colour Art team. We're starting off in Galway with Wella. So buy your tickets. No, but it's we have that coming up soon. And I think definitely education. I definitely want to expand more with Head Starts. We'll have to start writing the next 2 books. Hopefully, the virtual learning.
So basically, you're going to get the edge in training in education for young hairdressers. The way David set up, get the edge for the management and the salon owners, and it was part of me doing this, was that I kind of felt I've interviewed 37 salon owners. I need to get stylists, you know what I mean? I need to get people who are having great careers, having a great time, loving what they do, passionate about what they do, and their obsession isn't to open a salon. They might someday, but it's not their focus, because sometimes I feel a lot of people, like I never desired to open a salon. It was just when I got to a certain level in my life, and I think it was Alison said to me, if you're going to open a salon, you want to do it before you're 40, or we're not doing it. Because I was doing really well, and Peter Mark had a good job and a great career. I was respected. I was climbing the ladder in management. I was getting the bigger shops, but then I just went, maybe we need to do this, and it might not work. But as I always said to young people, is leave the door ajar when you leave. Do not have it closed behind you, because the people who've trained you and got you to where you are, you might need them someday. And that's where you're reaching out by saying to young people, Head Start is a training platform to give you something that you didn't have in the beginning. You might have developed a bit more of it when you went to House of Colour, and it wasn't to say that the salon wasn't bad. It was just that they didn't know any better. But now we know. Now we know better. You know what I mean? So, is there anything else you want to enlighten me on? What was it like working on the TV awards? Did you meet any celebrities?
Amazing. Oh my God, it was amazing. Yeah, we got the opportunity to go VIP backstage with the Generation L team. So we were working alongside the Sebastian team. And so we were doing like producers and everything behind, just kind of prepping them for getting onto the stage. And then we were lucky, there was a box left free, so it's that we could go and watch the show. So we had Love Island on one side of us, we had Anton Deck on the other, and I was just walking around, and there was nobody else but celebrities. So you had all these people, you were in the bathroom, and like that the girls from Love Island were washing their hands, and I was like, oh my God, do I say hello? What do I do? Because there's nobody else that was fangirling over anybody. So you kind of had to just play it cool and be like, oh hey, how are you, blend in.
But you were a celebrity in yourself.
Celebrity for the night I was.
But I think that's the secret. What you find when you do that is people are just ordinary people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, part of me reading that Aslan book is that one of my friends when I was young was the bass player in Aslan. And I wanted to find more about the journey that I didn't hear from Tony. And when I actually got to the part where he said why he left, he says, and then Tony eventually left the band, but that's not a story for this book. And I'm going, I'm after reading the book to find out, because he never would really say why he left the band. And then I'm still left oblivious, But the one thing you realize is that people like yourself who have won a lot, achieved a lot, have taken time out to write that. You'll find in the celebrity world, people love talking about what they love imparting their knowledge to you. And that's what you're doing now. And that's what it's, sometimes people are afraid to ask, you know, I'd love to ask her how she done that. And now I'm getting it out of you so that all your secrets are laid down here. So what would you do for prepping now for Wella Trendvision? Even though you're a stylist, would you still be involved in the boot camp? Or does they, like, everybody works on it? Everybody works on the different categories you're going for?
Yeah, so to be honest, our boot camps are a support unit for all of us to, you know, we're a team wherever we go. Like, the boot camps are just, you know, prepare to fail. You know, if you don't prepare, you're preparing
Failure
to fail.
to prepare, failure to prepare to fail. The first person that said that to me was Carl Keaveney, and that's going back a long time. And that was probably maybe where David heard it for the first time, you know.
It is, but it's one of the truest statements ever. I think if you don't put in, you know, you can't just turn up on the day and go, oh, it'll work out, because it never just works out like that. You have to put in the work. So whether I was, you know, like even Emily, she won gold last year. She's gone back again, and she's going for it again, but she'll still be at the boot camps. So I think, like, there's no kind of air race. You know, it doesn't matter if you're a stylist or you're 20 years styling or you're 10 years styling. We go support each other, and, you know, we get our models in and just prep. And yeah, so it's just really preparing yourself for the competition floor. But like that, as I said, the first round now will be photographic, and then there's no semi-finals this year, so it'll be straight to the final, then whoever gets through the first round. So be interesting to see.
So everybody that's entering will get the same photographic opportunity, or do you just take your own pictures?
It depends. Like, it depends on, sometimes like we'll have professional photographers, sometimes we'll take it ourselves, just depending on what competition, because you don't need to have professional photographers.
No, I think that's what frightens a lot of people out. They think it has to be, and you kind of go, that's a professional camera, you know what I mean? And if you get the right, and I think with Instagram there, when I look at people, you know, self included, you know, your posts that you put up, they are very professionally done. Do you know what I mean? Like, you actually earlier posted up that you were doing this interview, and I went, oh, here, hold on, I better post something up that I'm going to do it. And I did it back on Instagram, something back. And that's where we're all driving each other on. And that's where I feel that, you know, people like yourself, my hope today is that out there's young hairdressers that think, nah, I'm not really cut out for Trendvision, but after listening to this, they'll go, hey, I could do that. You know, because when we had the hair in the business hub, is still, Lisa still runs it, but we also had the hairdresser, you know what I mean, the stylist hub, or I forget what the hair hub we called it. That's what it is. And that stopped. But to me, by doing this, it's creating a hair hub, because basically I said, I want people on stage telling their story, that somewhere in that audience, some young kid is looking and going, oh, I had that problem. And for some reason, they think that's holding them back and they can't be successful. But they have to figure out how to overcome it. And I know from this interview you've done now, there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to push on in their career and expect to achieve more in a shorter space of time, because you've done it. You know what I mean? And it can be done. You know, it's like,
I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah, like my friend last, you know what I mean? Last I interviewed a friend for the other podcast, the hair dudes that I do, and she had deaf parents, and she says the only thing that a deaf person can't do that a hearing person can is hear. That's all. That's the only thing. You can do everything else. And when you look at the determination in those people, and that's why I always say, like, if you've got two good hands, two good ears, two good eyes, you can be a hairdresser. You know what I mean? Why? Because you visually can see what you're doing, your hands are working, and you can listen. And that's the main thing. And that's obviously something that you've done in your 8 years that has worked extremely well for you. So we're at the end now. So is there anything you want to add, Aisling? Because I really enjoyed the time here.
Thank you so much for having me on. But I just think, if anybody who is struggling at the minute in their training or even styling, just think back to why you started and try and remember that person who goes, I want to be that hairdresser. Try and find that passion inside you, because there was that passion there at one point. So I just think if anybody is struggling at the minute, you're only going through a rough patch. You'll pick yourself up and you'll be well able to carry on. But like that, as I said, my Instagram is there. If anybody wants to get in touch with me, I can help. And if I can help in any way, I'm there. But thank you so much for having me on. I've loved it.
Listen, thanks, Aisling. So from me, boring old Greg Clark, to inspirational Head Start author, Aisling Kenny of House of Colour, we say have a great day wherever you're doing. Do at the best of your ability, because it shows and it pays off in the end, as Aisling is saying with her career. So from Greg and Aisling, have a great day. Until we meet again, may the hair force be with you. Take care. Thank you for listening to our podcast. If you got this far, we must be doing something right. So please take the time to like, share, give us a 5-star review, and subscribe to our podcast channel. Thank you for everything. This is Greg Clark saying goodbye till we see you again, and may the hair force be with you.